And welcome into the Week 2 Countdown Show. I'm your host, Ian Power, joined as always by Frankie Santiago, Matt Vitale, breaking down the first half of this week's matchups for you guys. Before we dive into the slate on the whole, though, we got to show off the beer of the week. It was my turn to pick this week, and I went with a brewery that I've been a big fan of, beer I haven't tried as of yet. I've been meaning to, so I was like, hey, you know what? Let's do it for the show. It's the Allagash River Trip. Is this a summer beer only, Frankie, or is this
This is year round.
year round? Okay, cool. I'm actually kind of surprised by that, given the name. It's kind of one of those more like summer themed beers. I figured it'd be going out of style soon, but
Yeah, it's like when Harpoon had their seltzer named Arctic Summer.
yeah,
And they were like, this is a terrible idea. We should change the name.
this is gonna give you the wrong idea. It's like, why is there a river trip in July and January? But I think it's a pretty good beer. It's a Belgian style session ale. Nice, light, drinkable. You know, not a lot of heavy lifting that goes into a beer like this.
It's a nice summer crusher.
I was trying to avoid. God damn it, Frank! I had to get one last summer crusher in before the summer officially ends. But Vitale, as our resident beer hater, do you have any?
No, I like beer. I don't like the fancy stuff. This one it's fine.
This was at least an ale. This
as
is up your alley.
I said pre-show, they're all starting to just taste the same. Like, I have no taste of notes. It's just
Maybe that's just the COVID.
You know what?
I can taste everything I don't like. I mean,
You know what?
it's just
I'm
it
gonna
just tastes like someone put some extra stuff in beer and made it more beery.
I'm gonna spoil you guys next week.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna hate it.
I can't wait.
I will.
Frankie, just remember, I'm after you.
Yes.
Just remember that. You will get so much ham beer.
You said you want something that tastes different. I will bring you
I want
something
something
that
that tastes good.
different.
That's what I want. That's all I want.
All right. Well, I guess we're split. We're split on this one. I'm a big fan. I think that Allagash makes good product. They're a local brewery, so good to support local and all that.
For
But
sharks.
I could see myself drinking more of this, and I probably will. Before we dive into the show itself, be sure to follow us on social media at the Fantasy 4-Pack, at the Fantasy 4-Pack Ian, at the Senpai, at Senpai Koala, and at the Spoon. Twitter is the easiest place to reach us. Actually, probably the only real place to reach us. I mean, if you try and contact me on Instagram, I'll see it in 3 to 6 business months. That I would definitely recommend reaching out to us on Twitter if you have any issues, questions, concerns, start sits or other lineup decisions. We'd love to weigh in on those, and obviously like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified when all of our new content drops. A little bit of news before we start breaking down this slate. Miles Sanders was limited Wednesday with an ankle. Zach Ertz was actually do not practice Wednesday with his hamstring. I know he left the game, I guess, looked more serious than it was. He's still up in the air on if he's going to play this weekend. I don't really know if I care. I mean, he looked closer to old Zach Ertz than what he did last season before he got hurt, but I don't know. I mean, the Eagles' offense looks new and improved, but if he's got a hamstring injury, I'm probably fading him this week. Are you guys in that same boat?
Yeah, for me, I care more with this news for Dallas Goedert because I think that's going to be who it affects more. Because we saw Goddard have a better game and really kind of cement himself as the tight end one there.
Sure.
Which is a valuable position with the Eagles.
Odell Beckham with a knee was limited today in practice, although curiously was also ruled out for week 2 today in practice. So even though he's practicing, he's still not playing. I don't know what the Browns are doing here. Like, I assume they're just taking it slow with Beckham, but if that's the case, why is he practicing?
Yeah, I think they're probably just taking it slow because, he is what should be their premier receiver. Despite who's the 1 or 2 there. Landry has shown out more, and, he had a good game the other day too, so... we've seen Baker struggle with Odell on the field, and, I'm not saying that's why they're holding him out, but that could also be a thing that is being tossed around, or at least thought of, maybe just subconsciously. Like,
I'm just of the opinion that if you're not well enough to play, you shouldn't be practicing. If you are being ruled out on Wednesday, you are hurt, and you should be resting to make sure you're not hurt. Like, unless it's just a coach confidence thing where they're like, yeah, I guess he's healthy enough to play, but we're still not going to, in which case trade him.
I mean, this is what we saw with Aaron Jones last year too. Just as a last thing, I mean, he was healthy to my knowledge as far. I mean, as an Aaron Jones manager across all leagues last year.
Do you think it's just Odell ruling? Like Odell's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not playing this week. They're like, all right, fine, Odell, fine, whatever, you're out.
I mean, I was definitely scratching my head about this one. I could figure out why they were holding them out. It feels like one, they should be making the call one way or the other, and it feels like they knew like he wasn't good to go, but yet he's still like his status hasn't been there. But the only thing that's giving me some reassurance is there's some fantasy doctors out there that I like to, or I guess they're real doctors that have an appreciation for the fantasy football.
Yes. I knew what you were saying.
Yeah.
We aren't real doctors. We pretend we are on Twitter.
Yeah, no. There's some doctors out there that were looking at this and they're saying it's not much to worry about. It's a bummer for week 2, but I think this means that I think it's just kid gloves. I think they're just kind of treating him slow, and hopefully he can produce for them down the stretch.
So you think this is just some Kevin Stefanski shade at the Houston Texans? Like, you know what, Odell? Take this week off.
It could be that. It certainly could be that.
I mean, despite what the Texans did last week, I like the Browns a lot as far as the defense goes this week.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Juju Smith-Schuster was a non-injury DNP today. Not currently a worry for me. It could become one if he keeps non-injury DNPing, but as of right now, I'll just regard this as a excused absence from practice. Saquon Barclay, who is playing in tomorrow night's Thursday game, was limited with a knee, questionable for week 2. Given that he was the exact same thing last week and he played, I expect Saquon to be out there. Whether you want to give him a go or not is an entirely different story. I did warn you all to not play him last week. I'm warning the same thing this week. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
So when do we get to play our first round pick?
Evan Ingram. Well, hopefully sooner than Evan Ingram, who was ruled out for week 2. Taylor Heinecke was officially named the week 2 starter for the Washington football team. And Vitali, this is one that I'm surprised you haven't already reacted to by adding him everywhere. Josh Gordon is officially set to be reinstated by the NFL. Yay. Hard to believe he's only 23.
Is he actually only 23?
No, it feels like it because his legs are only 23 because he hasn't taken any hits.
I gotta keep going back.
I think he's 30.
28 or 29. No, but he's always in phenomenal shape. It's just, is he still football shape is the question.
Yeah, he's 30.
Oh, 30. Oh, all right. I was off.
Josh Gordon is almost exactly 3 months older than me.
How old do you think Randall Cobb is?
He was born April 13th.
Oh, okay. I was thinking the other way for some reason.
Josh Gordon is almost exactly 3 months older than me.
Okay. I was going the other way with it. I was like, wait, is he also born in September? But then that would be younger. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways. No, but there's a reason I'm not adding him. I think it's, as you said, I think his fantasy relevant days are done. I think he's just going to be a nice little piece for a team, maybe.
That's sad to hear. Josh Gordon's biggest fan is
still
off the Josh Gordon train.
I still rock his jersey. I loved his talent, and he is a story that I hope he can, put forward to the kids.
You know what, Vitali? I hope he comes back and has a monster fantasy
tell me
year.
I'll go at him.
I hope he comes back as a monster fantasy year, and someone else in our league gets him. I hope you make it to the finals, and the person you're playing has Josh Gordon. And he drops like 46 against you.
Listen. Don't do this to me because I will add him mid-show. I hate it. I want him to be good so bad.
He's going to the Browns for the minimum just to get a ring.
Pretty sure he's on the Seahawks.
Oh, is he?
I'm pretty sure they own his rights, yeah.
Oh, well.
I mean, what better team to be on, right? 2 plays, 2 touchdowns. The old Randy Moss special. It was 3 plays, 3 touchdowns, but this is a discounted one. Do you guys have any news that I didn't mention that you wanted to bring up?
Have we mentioned that Mostert's just out for the year yet?
Yes.
No.
several times.
I'm still kind of sad about that.
Yeah, we mentioned that on the waiver show, actually.
Yep.
All right, well, then I have nothing. I will
But for anyone who hasn't heard, Raheem Mostert's out for the year. He shouldn't be on your roster.
I'm still wallowing in self-pity over that.
I guess we could mention that it has been officially declared that Jerry Judy is going to be closer to the 6 weeks than the 4 weeks, which is also what we said on the waiver show. But at that point, we were more just being like, this is just optimistic speculation on the coach's part that he's going to be 4 weeks. He's going to be at least 6. The injury prognosis is now confirming he is going to be at least 6. So drop Jerry Judy unless you have a IR spot. All right, let's dive into this slate here. We've got another pretty good one, I think, in my opinion. But it's not going to look pretty good with the NFL. I'm begging you. Stop with the Thursday games. Last week was fine, and then you immediately go to shit.
Yeah, this was not pretty.
This might be the ugliest game on the week. We have the New York Football Giants facing off against the Washington Redacteds. A 40.5 point total in this one. Washington are 3.5 point home favorites. Oh man, I want to fade every single player in this game. Like I want to start the defenses. That's it. Like, I want to fade literally everything in this game. I'm playing Antonio Gibson if I have Antonio Gibson. Yeah. I'm probably forced to play Terry McLaurin. But I'm not excited about any of this.
Yeah, for me, this one I was looking at it, and it was like the Giants' secondary is a lot more scary than their front seven, so Gibson should be fine. But
I mean, Bradbury is going to be locking down Terry McLaurin all night.
That's what I'm saying. It's like scary Terry's the one I'm worried about. Like Gibson should be able to find, but his upside is limited with how
Didn't he lead the Washington football team in targets last week? Gibson.
Gibson? No,
yeah.
I think he only got to cut like 3 or 4 targets. But anyway, Tyler Heinecke. Hopefully, we can see playoff Heinecke, not mid-season Heinecke, because those were 2 different guys.
It's not going to matter. Heineke's terrible.
I mean, in the playoffs, he was fine.
Yeah,
that's why I'm asking for playoff Heinecke.
A blind squirrel can find a nut every once in a while. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl, and now he's in the where are they now section. This matchup has so much. I think this matchup hurts extra because it has so many beloved fantasy players, just universally liked by the community on these 2 teams, and they're all equally worthless.
Yeah, a lot of top 4 round guys here.
And not top 4 being top 4 as far as draft capital and in our hearts. Everyone loves Saquon Barkley's talent and just the player and everything. Everyone loves Terry McLaurin. Everyone loves Antonio Gibson. Logan Thomas has a special place in a lot of fantasy managers' teams because of how good he did for them last year. It's there are so many just fantasy darlings on these teams, and they're all gonna suck this week.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm basically only playing one or both defenses, and
So I mean, if I'm being completely honest with how I'm approaching this matchup, because I do have some shares of Saquon Barkley, if nothing else. Actually, yeah, at this point he's the only thing in this game I have shares of because I liquidated all of my Antonio Gibson already. I'm sitting Saquon in every league that I can unless I literally don't have the option. I don't want to use him against this Washington front 7. He only got 10 carries last week. He looked pedestrian on them. He looked slow. He looked like he was coming back from injury still. 4 days after he just played, where he's still questionable against one of the best defenses in the league. I'm sorry. I'm not going to play my draft capital in this one. I was lucky enough to get him as a 2nd round pick everywhere that I got him, but I'm sitting Saquon for Tyson Williams this week.
Yeah. Also, just to clarify, Antonio Gibson did lead them in targets last week.
I was wrong then.
Yeah, like I said, this is ugly all around. I think Gibson's the only play that I feel confident in because it's Heinecke back there now, because Bradbury is going to be on Terry McLaurin all day. Gibson should have a fine day if just by volume, if nothing else. But like, he's not gonna win you your week. He's gonna have an okay day most likely. Are there any plays that we're starting this show on a somber note. Are there any plays that I'm out on that you guys are more interested in? Are you higher on any of the players in this game than I am, or are you guys kind of in that same boat where you're looking at the Tyson Williams of the world starting over the Saquon Barclays?
Honestly, I'm probably for Tyson. It's tough. Just because how much they run, but
let me give you guys a couple start sits then. All these obviously I'll give you 3, all centering around Saquon because I already know where he is in my rankings. I'm curious where you guys have him. Elijah, blanking on his last name, Elijah McGuire or Saquon Barkley. I keep wanting seeing Elijah Moore for him. Like, nope, that's the Jets wide receiver.
Yep.
That I am also heartbroken about.
I'm avoiding Saquon this week. Not the Chargers.
So you're starting Elijah over Saquon?
Yeah. I have to roll a dice on which defense is going to show up. It's going to be Washington this week.
Oh, God. The only reason this is a question to
me,
Elijah
Mitchell, no.
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell.
I got to get that name right.
Yeah, the only reason I am considering still rostering or starting Saquon here is just because I feel like his talent, I like far more over the threat of Heinecke's.
Okay.
Like, Elijah Mitchell should be the starter, but if you told me right now that he splits carries with like JaMychal Hasty or somebody else, I won't be surprised. So
I do like JaMychal Hasty, but
like he's one. Like, yeah, if you're out there, if Hasty's out there, just stash him just to see what happens this week, maybe even next week.
Fair,
because like I said, if you end up with just the guy for the Niners, you could get some real fantasy production.
What about Melvin Gordon or Saquon Barkley, another guy who we were pretty much a unanimous hate on the recap show and an agree on the trade away. He looked slow outside of his breakaway touchdown. Are you trusting him against that 24th ranked Jacksonville defense?
I'm still going Saquon.
I will take Melvin Gordon there. I think he's got another one, and this is going to even build his trade ship even more.
All right, I got 2 more because they're right next to each other. I'm curious what you guys' thoughts are on both of them. Chase Edmonds, who didn't look like the number 1 in Arizona last week, but the other one is James Conner, who I know you guys didn't really believe in. Chase Edmonds or Saquon Barkley?
Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, just based on what Cincy did last week to Minnesota, I mean, their defense, I think, is still kind of just trying to come back to what they were a couple of years ago, and I don't think they're there yet.
Sure.
So I would probably lean Edmonds there.
Okay.
Because I think the upside's higher.
Yeah.
Ronald Jones or Saquon Barkley. Ronald Jones did get.
He is out of Aaron's doghouse
until he fumbles again.
Saquon Barkley.
Or drops a pass.
Saquon Barkley.
You know they're playing the Falcons, right?
Saquon Barkley.
All right, I'm gonna go Rojo here. The Falcons just put up 6 points against the Eagles.
You know what? Even though there was a lot of split decisions there, but I'm still happy that we found out, we roughly found out where you guys have him, which is down around probably running back 17 to 20, because that's a sad range for Saquon
Yeah, I
Barkley.
think that's being conservative with him and just being realistic with what he could be producing. Thursday night games are usually low scoring. Like it's a tough defense. Like he's
a road running back on a bad team.
Yeah.
in a low total game.
Yep.
New England Patriots, New York Jets. Patriots are going down to New York for this one. 42.5 point total. Jets are 6-point home dogs. Patriots are... So it's a low total game, but the Patriots are being given a pretty heavy, I guess favored line here.
Yeah.
They should be going in there and scoring the majority of these points, according to what Vegas is saying. I personally am just fine starting a bunch of Patriots. I think Jonnu showed that he's going to be a feature part of this offense. I could see his target share going up this week against the Jets. Jacoby Myers obviously is in play for me. Nelson Aguilar I think is a interesting spot start if you need one at wide receiver. Damian Harris is a smash start obviously. You start the Patriots defense. You could even talk me into Mac Jones if you missed out on all the other QB streamers this week.
Yeah.
New York Jets, what are you guys thinking about though? I mean, this Patriots defense looked good last week. They were getting after Tua.
I feel like at this point, as much as it pains me to say it, you do have to start Corey Davis.
Corey Davis is I would agree, probably the only lock on the Jets.
Yeah. He is good enough to be a lock, though I do want to see what he can do against a legit defense now, because I am still down on Corey Davis as a whole. I want to see what Elijah Moore can do.
He's hurt you too many times before.
No, he just disappears. He's not even there to hurt me. It just turn around. We got this right, Corey. Just turn around the alley. He's gone. Just a wisp of dust where he once stood.
You're just sitting there talking to your team. Everyone's like, "Where's Corey Davis?" Like, "Oh, he ran down the street for cigarettes. He'll be back in 10 minutes."
Yeah, he just doodles a 0 on your team and just leaves. But no, lock him in. Elijah Moore, like I said, I'm sitting him. Yeah, as far as this matchup goes, Patriots, you can talk me into plenty of different plays here.
Sure.
Jets, Davis, that's it.
Frank, are you in that same boat? Is this going to be another season if we don't talk about the Jets?
Till later. I think they could pop later.
Until someone actually shows. I mean, they're playing a tough defense today, so it just feels like. I get what you're saying. Corey Davis, I think, is the only person that you can really trust right now. I think against a lesser defense, I would honestly, maybe throw Zach Wilson out there.
So there's no spot starts that you guys are interested in on the Jets.
It's literally just Corey Davis.
But no, just quick point to that. Are we not talking about the Jets thing? They have 3 prominent rookies on their offense, and we know rookies pop towards the second half. So this is a team I look to see see if they can catch fire in the second half. So if you can stash Elijah Moore, if you can stash Michael Carter to see if maybe he can take over this backfield.
I agree. This is a team that I'm interested in the second half of 2022.
Sure.
All right, Los Angeles Rams, Indianapolis Colts. Rams are headed into the center of the country for a nice high total. We love to see it. 48.5 points. Rams are coming in as 3.5 point road favorites in this one. It should be a pretty interesting game, I think. I think one of the biggest things I'm going to be watching for from this game are the Rams, because obviously I was very high on Dave Montgomery coming into the year. I'm curious in this one to see if the Rams are just going to be weaker against the run than we were expecting, or if Dave Montgomery is just better than a lot of people are giving him credit for, because they're going up against another top running back in the league this week. I mean, another top rushing attack, really, because Nyheim, not to take anything away from Nyheim Hines, he's great. Those two backs saw the lion's share of the targets for this team last week. Almost 50% of the targets on the team went to the running back position. This is going to be another, I think, a big litmus test game for this Rams defense to see if they're actually weak against the run, if this is going to be an exploitable defense, or if that was an aberration last week. Are you guys in that sort of same boat with me?
Honestly, more so, I'm looking at the Colts O-line. We were expecting this to be a top-tier line, and they were getting battered. Wentz was on his butt all game, and that led to the shorter targets. I want to see, once again, this is another tough test for them to really prove if they are top. But if you're going to be a top line, you have to be able to stop the
Not a
top.
lot of tougher tests than Aaron Donald.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So if they can hold up, I think this team plays a lot different. I think a lot more down the field shots, and I think that's where Pittman could flourish. But I'm expecting this game to play out just like the last one because I do think Donald is going to be too much for this line, especially week 2.
So for the Rams side of the ball, obviously, Darrell Henderson had a heavy workload last week. He's a start against this Colts defense. Cooper Kupp is looking to reestablish himself as a top 15 wide receiver after that strong performance he had last week. I think he's setting himself up again to be another top performer this week. Matt Stafford clearly loved to target him. Robert Woods had a fine game last week. He just wasn't like Cooper Kupp levels, but I think he's very much in play. Higbee's in play. Are you guys willing to obviously it was all the damage done on one target, but Van Jefferson's a fast kid. Are you guys willing to stream Van Jefferson this week and just pray for another ball to the house?
I think if you need to, but I think the game will also be, I mean, both of these defenses are good.
Yeah.
I think the game's going to be close enough where they are going to be taking those down the field shots a little bit more, especially if we get to that, that crunch time where you need a touchdown. And if they're going back and forth, I think it's going to be.
So what's your cutoff for needing him? Is he a DFS play only for you this week, or are you considering him in redraft?
I would consider him a flex play. I wouldn't put him in my wide receiver 3 slot.
Tell me some players that you would start him over.
All right, let's go. Well, I mean,
or I have the wide receivers up here. I can just
pull them up.
read some off for you if you don't have them ready. But tell you, while I'm scrolling down to give you some time, I'll give you some time to talk while I'm scrolling down this list.
Sure.
Here.
So for me, honestly, he's a DFS contrarian, cheap play only. Because I honestly do think this is going to get. The Colts defense needs to be respected a little bit more. I think this is a kind of a start your studs, don't get too cute with it for the Rams. I think like I said, I think this is just going to be led by Kupp and Woods, and with Higbee giving some Higbee and the running backs kind of supplementing that. I just don't see enough work.
I mean, honestly, running back, Sony Michel wasn't used last week, like hardly at all.
Yeah. I just don't see enough target volume for Van Jefferson. Like I said, he basically has to do what he did last week.
Well, that's why I was phrasing it around. Are we plugging him in? If you need a spot start and hoping for that long touchdown, because he's likely not going to get the target volume without an injury. But Frankie, I'm curious where you got him. We'll start off light and then sort of increase it to find your bar. Van Jefferson or Darnell Mooney?
Van Jefferson.
Van Jefferson or Michael Pittman? Opposite sides of this one. Both fairly cheap receivers.
I would take Michael Pittman there.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, if you want my reasoning, one is, probably, I would say at this point, the best receiver on their team, and the other is Van Jefferson.
Van Jefferson or Marquez Callaway?
I would say Van Jefferson there.
Okay, so you've got him as a low end flex then.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. He's not super high, but if you need a guy,
he's more of a desperation play than anything else.
Yeah, maybe you drafted, you
have Ayuk, Odell, and Jerry Judy, you're just sitting here like, guess I'll die.
I was gonna say maybe you went low, upside wide receiver late, and your number 2 receiver is Jerry Judy, and now you're kind of just like, all right, well, what do I do now?
Also, as someone who did draft Ayuk and Odell, all I feel is pain.
Yeah, honestly, I wish this game was in the night slot, because this is Van Jefferson's a play where you can use your flex to be like, I need if you're winning, you don't need him, but if you're I'm down a good chunk, I need that boom.
You need the Randy Moss game.
Yeah, you need the Randy Moss game. Then you plug in Van Jefferson and just be like, please just take 1 or 2 to the house.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, for me, I think this is the last thing I wanted to say about this matchup. But this, for me, is likely going to be my cut game for Michael Pittman too. If Michael Pittman flops 2 weeks in a row, if there's someone who pops this week, if he doesn't at least get targeted, we'll say, if he looks more involved in the offense, if he receives more targets, and even if he can't get it done against this Rams defense, if he at least looks to be part of the game plan, I'm willing to extend another week. But if he looks uninvolved for 2 weeks in a row, he is cut bait for someone who pops this week, because there will be players who pop this week.
Yeah, he definitely shifts down if he doesn't pop this game or at least show out. But this also depends on the game script, because I feel like this is going to be just like last week. If this is another where Wentz is basically just whipping the ball to get it away, so Darnold's not crushing him into the ground.
Darnold's not crushing him into the ground.
Sam Darnold, he's coming over to play some D-line. No, if Donald's getting through the line and putting so much pressure that he can't throw the ball downfield, I kind of give him some forgiveness, but that just extends 1 week. Like next week is his absolute cutoff for me, regardless of how this game goes.
Yeah.
But this one, that's the one condition that he's allowed to flop.
Houston Texans are going to visit the Cleveland Browns in another high total game this week, 47.5 points. And the Browns are almost 2 touchdown home favorites.
Yeah, that's what I was just laughing
at. I really should have looked up before the show how to say "start your Nick Chubbs" in other languages, so I could just say it multiple. Like this is the most vanilla, obvious "start your Nick Chubb" game script I think I've seen in the 3 seasons he's been playing. Like
that might be the highest favorship I've seen.
I mean that's you don't see favorites having that kind of that kind of line very often.
I mean, we do have another game with the same line.
I know it's weird to have that in 1 week, but
I think the funniest thing about this one.
Same line and a higher total, too.
If we roll this back like 3 years, this same matchup, we're talking about the complete reverse where it's like...
Yeah, we're talking about the Texans are going into Houston and getting 9.5 points?
Yeah, we're like, oh man, the Browns are going to get shellacked. Like, this is just the absolute reverse. This is just start your studs. Like, you can talk me into most Browns this week.
Honestly, I'm kind of not into a lot of the Browns plays this week just because... I think they're gonna. I think you want the running backs, and that might be kind of it. I could see this game just being a running bonanza where Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb both have a day, and 3 of their 4 touchdowns, or whatever, are scored on the ground, and the air guys just kind of have mediocre times.
I would take Landry, but that's about it. Just because, I mean, I know this Browns offense wants to run the football. But once they establish the run, Baker's going to go out there and he's going to... See, I can't even say that because Baker's... I agree with you.
Yeah, like this could easily be one where, they just run it down the Houston Texans' throats. The Houston Texans can't stop them because both of these Browns running backs are better than, like, anyone on the Houston Texans team.
Yeah.
And they just run it with impunity, like, all over them all afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in on Landry. I'm still in on Hooper just because, as you said, they're going to run it down their throats. So they're going to have to – the game script for the defense is still going to be to try and contain it. Like,
I think it's fine to start Landry and Hooper.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like for managers out there who don't think this is like a sit, those two. Because I think there's a very real possibility that, Chubb punches them down to the 5-yard line and then it's just a play action dump to one of those two for a touchdown.
So I would disagree with a little bit more, only because of how much they use Chubb inside the 5. He is almost every time their first read inside the 5, but if he gets him down to like the 17 or something, keeps him outside the 10 but inside the 20, it's like I think that's where you see more of the Jarvis Landry and the Austin Hooper, or even the Kareem Hunts, maybe get a shot to catch one and score some points, but. Outside of those two, and like I'm just kind of I'm willing to stream over those guys if I have better options. Like outside of Hooper and Landry, this is a running game only game for me.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching the Chiefs game on Sunday, and I mean inside the 5, the running back. I mean, both the running backs were feasting against the Chiefs, and
yeah,
that. I mean, they both look really good.
I said it as part of my Nick Chubb argument. The Browns use Chubb inside the 5 and in the red zone as much or more than basically any running back in football. So, like, you can expect those looks to go in his direction. This game's going to be ugly. I mean, Nick Chubb. We said it on the trade show. He's one of my money picks of the week because I think this game is going to be just a bonanza for running back fantasy points. So hopefully you have a part of this Browns offense this week, specifically on the running side of the ball. Houston Texans, anyone you're starting? Anyone at all? Bueller.
This Browns defense looked real good.
Yeah, they shut down Mahomes for 3 quarters.
And then Mahomes did Mahomes things, but
like
Tyrod Taylor's not Mahomes.
I was gonna say I don't know if you know this, but the Houston Texans don't have Patrick Mahomes.
Borrow him.
It's just Patrick Mahomes out there in a mustache, like he's got like the Groucho Marx glasses on, like
Yeah.
I could have swore that's him, but he hasn't a mustache or a big nose like that.
Yeah, this one is no. That's the answer for Texans players. No.
Cool, I like it. So not even Mark Ingram at a shallow running back position.
I want him even less because that's the part of the Browns defense I fear the most is their front seven.
Okay, fair enough. Let's jump to the next one then. Exact same total, 47.5, although the line is much closer on this one. Bills are coming into Miami. Miami is 3.5. 3.5 home dogs. There we go. Not really shocked with how they played last week. I guess I'm a little surprised because the Bills didn't play too well either, but I assume this is more just Vegas kind of giving the Bills some rope to play with, whereas Miami still has to show that they're legit. They only won on a fluky fumble by Damian Harris at the end of the game, so I'm interested in options on both sides of the ball in this one. Jalen Waddle showed me enough last week that I'm rolling him out there as a wide receiver 3 this week. I think Tua is a fine spot start at quarterback. The Bills can be thrown on if they. I'll just like this is at least a better matchup for him this week than it was last week. I think because the Patriots, and I talked about this all offseason when I was saying that the Patriots defense was much improved. They can apply way more pressure than the Bills can. I don't think that he's going to be running for his life as much against the Bills as he was against the Patriots. That should give him the opportunity to find Myles Gaskin, to find Jalen Waddle, to find Devontae Parker. Will Fuller is back this week, which is huge for me because keep in mind he had a 1-game suspension. He did have a training camp and preseason with this team, so it's not like he's coming in cold. Like he got to practice his team all off season. I expect him to have an impact this week. There's only one Tre'Davious White, and there's 3 talented receivers plus Mike Gesicki.
For me, it's just like this offense needs to show me. Like I said, I know the Patriots defense is good, but the Patriots offense lacks, which gives the Dolphins that many more opportunities to go. Whereas I feel like the Bills are going to be able to hang on to the ball a little bit more. They're still a good defense. I think the biggest one, I'm surprised. This one feels closer than I would give it. I would definitely take the Bills here with that 3.5, just because they need a win. And right now, people are already writing them off. I'm seeing them down at like 10 overall in power rankings. Like,
oh yeah, I saw Stephen A. and his new crew talking about how the Bills are frauds today.
Yeah, like I said, if Josh Allen wants to prove what everyone, like all the love that he was getting later in the season and all this offseason, he's going to have to step up in this game. And I think this is got to be their get-right game. It's a divisional matchup. This game means a lot for them, even if the Dolphins really, like, when it comes playoff time, if these two are playing each other, I don't see a way that the Dolphins are going to beat the Bills.
So I think this game is actually going to be – I think it's going to have a higher total. I think that what we saw with the Bills last week, I mean, they can be like you said, they have one Tre'Davious White. There's a lot of options on this Miami team.
Yes.
But also, the Bills just throw the ball so much as much as we want Zach Moss to happen, as much as we want Singletary to happen. Or maybe that's just me. But
I think Singletary is literally just you at this point, actually, yes.
They run a very up-tempo offense, and I think that's going to be a lot harder for the Dolphins to keep up with.
There's like a Singletary fan group on Facebook, and it's just Frankie in there.
I think that's going to be a lot harder for the Dolphins to keep up with than the Patriots last week, because we know that Bill is always just nose to the ground, just run the ball and then throw it short to your tight ends. But no, I'm thinking this total is going to be a little bit higher. I think it's going to be a lot more of an offensive-based game than we're giving it credit for, because we look at these two defenses and we say, yeah, they're They should be good. But it's never. I mean, it's always start your good offenses against bad defenses.
Yep.
But when you have two good defenses and two good offenses, I mean, good offenses can play good against good defenses because that's why they're good offenses.
Yeah, I think this game has sneaky shootout potential. Just because Will Fuller coming back completely changes what I think about the Dolphins. Like, Will Fuller being back really opens up this offense, in my opinion, or at least it should. It all is going to come down to how Tua plays, but Tua now has a completely new offensive option that he didn't have last week. And last week he was already making some good throws, and it was looking kind of difficult to cover all three of their weapons at times. Now there's four of them. Like I think that we know the Bills can go out. I know the Bills can go out there and score. I'm not worried about Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley, Gabriel Davis, all of them. I'm not worried about them going out there and putting up points. I think that the Dolphins are at least going to be able to keep pace enough to make this one so this one could hit the over. So I like this. I like this matchup. I'm fine putting Will Fuller in there right away if you drafted him. I think Jalen Waddle's an interesting start. Probably wouldn't start Devontae Parker this week unless you're trying to do a trying to do a stack in Draftkings and you're trying to avoid Waddle and Fuller for some reason. But I don't even see this being a heavily targeted game as far as rostership percentage goes. So you don't even really need to go that deep on just target their best options, in my opinion. I think that this is an interesting game for fantasy, to say the least, and probably a bounce back game for Myles Gaskin too.
Sure.
Saints Panthers next on the docket. 45-point total. Panthers are a lot of home dogs this week. Panthers are home dogs once again. Saints are expected to come in and blow doors, and what can I say except obviously they're going to come in and blow the Panthers out. They've got Jameis Winston as their quarterback. Jameis Winston MVP season started last week, if you guys weren't aware, and I will be riding that train until he throws 5 picks and gets benched for Taysom Hill.
I mean, you say that, but I mean, there's only one of us at this table that's calling out for him to have a top season as a quarterback. I mean, it was just me.
Listen, I let you have that one because I know you like Jameis. You can't pretend I've been in on Jameis since way back before even his 30 for 30 days.
I'm saying you got off the bus. And I'm driving it now.
I never got off this bus, sir. That is slander.
Despite Rodgers' performance last week and how, we'll say sus it was.
Sure.
I think that Saints defense looked really good last week. And, I mean, I would say Aaron Rodgers is probably a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. And I think that I would trust the Packers offense more than I trust the Panthers offense. So, I mean, I'm streaming the Saints this week if they're out there for a defense. And I think that this is going to be an Alvin Kamara game because I think the Saints are going to go up early. I mean, we did get to see it with Jameis Winston throwing 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to throw the ball even more this week. He probably won't throw 5 touchdowns again.
But if he does.
Yeah, no, I like Alvin Kamara a lot this week. I mean, we saw the Panthers last season be terrible against the run.
Yep.
They played the Jets close.
Yeah, I mean,
yes, the Jets' vaunted rushing attack. Watch out.
I'm saying the Saints are a much better team than the Jets just in general.
Yeah, I'm not worried about this match. This matchup, obviously, you start your Saints, you start Alvin Kamara, you start Jameis Winston as a great streaming option. Juwan Johnson is an interesting tight end streamer for me this week. I'm fine rolling Marquez Callaway out there, or even Deontay Harris. Really, just whatever Saints receiver you feel like rolling out there, because we don't really know which one of them is going to get the looks yet. So I'm fine playing them if you need a spot start. Panthers side of the ball, obviously you start Christian McCaffrey. You do not start Darnold this week. What receivers are you guys rolling out there? We got Terrace Marshall, who got 6 targets. We got Robbie Anderson, who took one to the house. And, DJ Moore is still there somewhere, I think. Are you guys starting any Saints or any Panthers receivers this week?
I'm fading all of them.
I'm fine rolling DJ. Terrace Marshall. I'm fine throwing him in the flex, honestly, just because as good as the Saints looked, I still
DJ Moore had a better game than I was giving him credit for.
Yeah, lazy.
6 for 8.
So him and Terrace, I think, have a chance here to do some work. I just think this is going to be, honestly, one I would be pounding the over, just because I think the Saints' passing attack should be able to open this game up, forcing Darnold to have to throw more. And I expect some turnovers, but I also expect them to kind of push the tempo along with them, and to have McCaffrey to kind of bail them out when they need him.
I just think this is going to be a McCaffrey game, and that's about it. He's kind of the only Panther that I'm in on this week. I'm sitting everyone else if I can. Even DJ Moore is probably the only non-McCaffrey Panther that I'm entertaining starting this week. All right. On to the next one. A game that we've already talked about a little bit. 49ers Eagles. Very high total in this one. 50.5 points, which, given how these two teams performed last week, I can't really say I'm shocked. The Eagles are once again home dogs. It's a trend this week. I don't know why. I don't know how. But there's typically not this many home. I'm actually curious if anyone's gone back and checked this out. If there's ever been this many home dogs in a week before, because this feels like almost everyone's a home dog this week. 49ers are obviously being favored coming into Philadelphia. They have their new electric running back, Elijah Mitchell, just as we all expected. Obviously, their passing attack being led by none other than Deebo Samuel and Trent Sherfield, as we all expected. God, I hate Shanahan. So Kyle Shanahan is the worst. I hate him so much.
He's
a fun sucker.
Yeah.
He's saying today, he's like, well, Deebo, or not Deebo. Deebo's already great. He's like, well, Ayuk's got to be a lot better than the next guy if he wants to, get consistent snaps. Like, shut up, Kyle. Trent got like 3 targets last week. You're telling me that Deebo isn't good enough to get more than 3, or that Ayuk isn't good enough to get more than 3 targets? Shut up.
Yeah.
I'm starting everyone here, by the way, just in case we wanted to actually get into talking about the players.
Yeah, I'm ready to get hurt again this week. Brandon Ayuk is back out there. I'm fully expecting another 0. I'm also expecting 40 points because it's gonna be somewhere in that range of outcomes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's impossible to have a window for this player when Kyle Shanahan is like, I won't tell you anything.
Yeah, he booms like he does at the end of last season, and then he's just like, I don't know if he's good enough.
Yeah,
yeah. But for me, I'm starting the Niners, just rolling them out there. I would start Ayuk. Eagles side of the ball, starting Devonta. I'm starting. Oh, man. Honestly, it's a lot more. For a game that has a 50 over-under, I'm not too jazzed about the Eagles side of the ball that isn't just Hurts and Devonta. And I guess Goddard with Ertz down.
Well, so I think the Eagles side of the ball is actually more dynamic than people are giving it credit for, because I think Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell are both fine plays this week. We saw Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift both have great days against the same 49ers team last week, and the Lions suck. The Eagles aren't great, but they're better than the Lions.
Yeah, I agree with both those. I also would say, I would probably flex Rager. If I have to, I'm not like saying he's a high end. He's kind of in that same range for me as Jefferson.
I would start Jefferson over Rager 100 times out of 100.
Again, we saw what the Lions like. If you were to tell me, we just go back to the last week, do we think the Lions and Niners game was going to be as high scoring as it was? No, nobody did.
No.
I think that this Niners defense, because of their past, we'll say acclaim, gets a lot more credit than they actually are good. And if you can't show out against the Lions, Jared Goff's not as terrible as a quarterback as I make him out to be, because I just don't like Jared Goff in general. But I like Jalen Hurts more than I like Jared Goff. and I think that they're going to be able to move the ball down the field.
Now, is this a Niners thing, or is this because the Lions are led by Dan Campbell, and Dan Campbell promised to eat kneecaps, and, Mostert lost his kneecap?
He did lose a knee. That's one kneecap down.
He's eaten one knee.
No, I just...
Do you think Dan Campbell gains power every time he eats a kneecap? Is this Lions team slowly going to become better as they eat more kneecaps?
My God. If, Kenneth Gainwell goes down with a knee injury, and I'm just someone just give him a necklace of kneecaps. Just
the Lions start winning by the end of the year. They blow out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 72-12. All right. Well, I think that you guys are probably a little bit higher on me than I'm willing to go for Jalen Reagor, but
I'm completely on Reagor, but I'm also out on Van Jefferson too. So
yeah, well, you don't like risk or fun, but that's fine because this next matchup has no risk or fun, despite also having a lot of players I like in it. 46-point total. The Bears are 2.5-point home favorites. Finally, we found a home favorite again. They're playing the Bengals, who are coming in the Battle of the Bees. CB.
Quick sidebar. Fight. Who are you taking, bear or tiger?
Bear. 1,000 times.
Yeah, bear.
Okay,
so much bigger.
Don't go into it. Well, that's it. I just had to.
But I want to go into it now.
Yeah. Now I care more about who
anyways,
would win, a bear or a tiger than this.
Starts in this matchup.
All right, so I think kind of to Frankie's point about the 49ers, I think this Bears defense might be worse than we thought it was. Joe Burrow's not the worst start in this one.
He's got so many weapons to throw to.
He does, just kind of like how Matthew Stafford did last week, and he made some nice fantasy totals for people. I like T. Higgins in this one. I like Jamar Chase. I guess Darrell Henderson just did fine against the Bears, so start up your Joe Mixons. There is no tight end on the Bengals, so we don't have to talk about that position. It's great.
Yeah.
Bears side of the ball.
2 players.
I think it's one. I think it's just Dave. I'm not excited for Allen Robinson this week. Did you guys see Matt Nagy's play chart for Allen Robinson last week? He didn't run a single route that was further than 5 yards downfield. What is Matt Nagy doing? This is one of the best receivers in the league. And he's like, yeah, he can't catch the ball further than 5 yards away. Got to keep him close. Oh, wait. Maybe it's Andy Dalton's eyes. Do you think Andy Dalton's old and his eyes are going? He's like, hey, can't see my receivers.
We have seen what Allen Robinson can do. He is too good of a receiver, and he's too heavily
I'm not sitting him. I'm just not happy about starting him.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to be happy about it. You start him. That's all. That's what the people need to know. You start them or you sit them.
Yes, I'm not sitting Allen Robinson. I'm not a crazy person.
I said it's 2 players. You said I think it's just one.
I think it's just one I'm excited about.
I think you're lying to the people spreading that information.
David Montgomery is going to have a great day. Allen Robinson, I would temper expectations. I would plan for some negative volatility in your lineups. Some maybe 6-point games out of your 3rd round wide receiver.
I would not play him in DFS.
Oh yeah, no, he's on the bench.
Yeah, despite the fact that they're playing the Bengals, I would avoid him.
The Bengals defense also looked decent last week. Not good, but better than what we thought the Bengals defense was going to look like. They shut down the Vikings for a while.
I'm still holding to it. Call me old now that I'm over 30, but I'm going to say that it was Bizarro World Week 1. We're going back to reality this week.
I hope we are.
Houston should be bad, will be bad. I think the teams that the Bears defense is going to be good again. Rodgers will throw football good. Like, this is what I'm looking at.
Hey, we're not at the Packers yet.
I'm
That comes
talking
tomorrow.
about everything bizarre that happened week 1. It's gonna readjust.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm probably going to be watching this game because it's just one of the.
Higgins is there, and
I mean, I didn't watch the Bengals Vikings one last week. I just watched the highlights because I had other ones I needed to watch. But this week is one that I now need to watch. I need to see, is this Bengals team legit? Are the Bears actually bad? When does Justin Fields get in, and how many points does he get as soon as he touches the field? All of these questions and more hopefully will be answered this week when Andy Dalton has to go into a retirement home mid-game. I don't know. I don't have any like special starts from this one. I'm fine with Darnell Mooney, I guess, if you're just praying for a long touchdown. That's what Darnell Mooney can do. But like this matchup just doesn't excite me. It's just so gross.
So as we sometimes say, just studs and duds.
Yeah, I guess I want to like more about it, but it's just. All right, well, that'll do it for the first half of the Countdown show for us. Join us tomorrow as we bring you the second half of the episode, including the afternoon games and the Monday game. And as always, if you have any questions, reach out to us on Twitter. Hit us up down in the comments section or mail, I guess, because, God knows I don't check my Instagram.
Honestly, send a carrier pigeon if you can, because I've never gotten one of those.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I feel kind of Game of Thrones. You wake up to a bird just pecking at your window like, the White Walkers are coming.
I have no idea how you're supposed to receive those, and so I have no idea.
I assume they peck at your window.
How do they know it's yours?
Pigeons are smart. Anyway.
Until next time.
That'll do it for us. You guys have a great week, and hopefully you win your Thursday tilts if you are doing any DFS.